LA City installs crosswalks in neighborhood where residents painted their own. Sometimes, when local governments move too slowly, residents take matters into their own hands, and that's exactly what happened in a West Los Angeles neighborhood near Stoner Park. Frustrated by dangerous traffic and what they saw as the city's lack of response, community members painted their own crosswalks to protect pedestrians. But here's where it gets controversial. Rather than praise the initiative, the city initially painted over the DIY efforts. And this is the part most people miss. While some view these resident-led actions as grassroots activism, others see them as a challenge to municipal authority. So, who's really at fault here? On Friday, the city finally responded by officially installing new crosswalks in the same area. Mayor Karen Bass and Councilwoman Traci issued a joint statement emphasizing that safety for all road users, pedestrians, cyclists, drivers, and families is a top priority. It should be safe for people to walk, roll, bike, and drive in their neighborhoods, said Mayor Bass. Councilwoman Park highlighted the importance of community spaces like Stoner Park, describing it as a central gathering place for neighbors, children, and local events. She stressed that ensuring safe passage through such areas is essential to maintaining the social fabric of Los Angeles. Earlier this summer, Mayor Bass also announced plans to implement hundreds of street safety upgrades across LA, particularly around schools. These include speed bumps, reduced speed signage, and additional crossing guards, all aimed at making commutes safer for students and families. So why did residents feel compelled to act on their own? According to locals, Nebraska Avenue has become a popular shortcut for speeding drivers, posing a serious risk to pedestrians, especially children playing nearby. In an attempt to curb this, the city had previously installed temporary traffic calming devices like makeshift rotaries. However, residents say these measures were ineffective. By the time the city stepped in and painted over the homemade crosswalks, many in the community felt dismissed. Still, the situation ended with a compromise. Official crosswalks are now being installed, with more sidewalk improvements expected in the coming weeks. This story was compiled using information from Mayor Bass's office and a previous report by Fox 11, which included interviews with neighborhood residents. Now we'd love to hear from you. Should residents have the right to make safety improvements themselves if the city doesn't act quickly enough? Or does allowing unofficial infrastructure projects open the door to bigger problems down the road? Share your thoughts below. We're listening. Community wins. City installs permanent crosswalks around Stoner Park. When a community takes matters into their own hands to demand safer streets, what happens when the city pushes back? That's exactly the drama unfolding in West Los Angeles, where residents painted their own crosswalks around Stoner Park, only to see them vanish overnight. But here's where it gets controversial: the city's sudden reversal and the hidden rules that sparked this showdown. Let's break it down. Last week, city crews rolled into Stoner Park with paint and pavement markers, installing permanent crosswalks at intersections where residents had previously painted their own. This followed a months-long battle led by local activist Jonathan Hale, a Sawtelle resident who organized neighbors to mark the crossings after learning from the Crosswalks Collective LA. The DIY effort was a direct response to growing concerns about pedestrian safety, especially for kids using the park's popular amenities. But the city's initial reaction? Scrub it all away. Hale and his team were left stunned when the Department of Transportation, DOT, removed the crosswalks just days after they were painted. Hale, who stood by as crews worked this week, called the removal a win in the long run. "I'm proud of what we did," he said, adding that the community's persistence finally forced the city to act. And this is the part most people miss. The city's refusal to approve the DIY crosswalks wasn't just about bureaucracy. Hale later learned the real reasons. First, liability. Officials argued that unsanctioned markings could actually increase danger by encouraging pedestrians to cross at unsafe times. Second, ADA compliance. To legally install crosswalks, the city had to renovate sidewalks to meet accessibility standards, a step the community couldn't take on alone. The mayor's office confirmed the new crosswalks and sidewalk upgrades in a statement, calling the changes a legal safety requirement. Yet the city hasn't explained why they suddenly reversed course. Councilmember Traci Park had previously lobbied to keep the DIY crossings, but her efforts hit a wall until Hale's campaign gained traction. Residents like Minal Mehta, who visits the park daily with her kids, are thrilled. "It's amazing the city listened," she said, praising the community's role in pushing for change. But here's the bigger question. Should local initiatives like this be allowed to bypass official channels when safety is at stake? Or does the city have a right to enforce rules, even if it means delaying life-saving changes? We'd love to hear your take in the comments. After all, the fight for safer streets isn't just about paint. It's about who gets to decide what's safe for a community. City replaces DIY crosswalks near Sawtelle Park. Community action spurs official safety measures. Imagine a community so desperate for safety that they take matters into their own hands, literally painting their own crosswalks to protect themselves and their loved ones. This is exactly what happened in the Sawtelle neighborhood near Stoner Park, where residents, frustrated with the city's slow pace, decided to host DIY painting parties to create their own crosswalks. But here's where it gets interesting. Weeks later, the city of Los Angeles has finally stepped in to paint the official crosswalks, raising questions about the efficiency of the city's process and the power of community-led initiatives. As Jonathan Hale, a Sawtelle resident, pointed out, the city's process for creating new crosswalks is often too cumbersome, involving a lengthy approval process, budgeting, and subcontractor selection, which can be overwhelming for individuals. "I have to ask the city this, and there's an approval process, and you have to do the budgeting, and then get a list of subcontractors, and then you have to get approval, and there's the committee. Whatever you know, I just don't want to deal with all that, so I just decided to do it myself," Hale explained. The city's decision to paint the official crosswalks has been welcomed by residents, with the office of Mayor Karen Bass confirming that the work began on Friday morning and sidewalk improvements will be installed in the coming weeks. According to the statement, Mayor Bass and Councilwoman Traci Park believe that it should be safe for people to walk, roll, bike, and drive in their neighborhoods, highlighting the importance of safety and accessibility in community design. And this is the part most people miss. The fact that community-led initiatives can often be more effective in driving change, even if they're not always officially sanctioned. But what does this say about the relationship between citizens and their government? Should residents be expected to take matters into their own hands? Or is it the city's responsibility to provide safe and accessible infrastructure? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the city's process is too bureaucratic? Or are there valid reasons for the lengthy approval process? Should communities be encouraged to take the lead in safety initiatives? Or does this set a problematic precedent? Let us know in the comments.